So I'm back with another bike build project.
I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The bow and affection, I summon and dumb it, cause bitch I got...
Today, I've come all the way down to Hemel Hempstead to Reactive Parts to start the next project. This time round, I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. Firstly, I've bought a much better bike to begin with. Secondly, I've got someone much more qualified than me to help me build it. The one mistake that I didn't learn from was having no time to do it. This time is no different to the last one. I've got 48 hours to do this build. It is currently 11 o'clock on a Wednesday and we have got till tomorrow evening to finish this. So we've got a hotel tonight. We've got limited time to do it. I'll reveal the bike that we're going to use at the end, but last time we used sort of a mid-tier Trackday bike. It was a GSX-R 750. It cost £10,000 to do the whole build. From that, there's lots of different projects I want to do. I want to do a really cheap Trackday build, but I also wanted to do a bike build which I'm not capable of doing myself, something that's sort of, I guess, yeah, at the other end of Trackday riding, something really expensive and cool to do. So that's what we've got here. It's not my bike, it's Reactive Parts' bike that they had sat here. It was actually a project bike for themselves that they haven't had time to do, so they've passed it on to me to quickly do in 48 hours. So I mentioned that I've enlisted someone's help with this build, and that is this guy here. So Macaulay, reveal yourself. So Macca, tell the viewers your relationship with me.
My relationship with you. So Taylor is my boss in Moto3, so I'm Josh Watley's mechanic with Vision Track.
Like me, Macaulay is equally busy because he does the World Championship rounds with me. We have 21 races. We fly all around the world doing that. And like myself, when I come back, I just fill my time doing other stuff related to motorbikes, and Macaulay's no different. What do you do in between? Well, there's a running joke in our team that Macaulay didn't have time to get his hair cut at the start of the year. He's finally had his hair cut.
And everyone thinks I'm steady now. No, we're going to do this. Like I say, we've got the tools to do it. We've got, we've had a little sneak peek of the parts. We've got some good parts to put on this bike. So yeah, I think this will be really good build.
How did you get to become a mechanic in World Championship?
So I started at Honda with Dan Linford, and I was at Honda for 5 years, working with Dan, Jason, Andrew Irwin, and then got the call up to World Superbikes. Worked at BMW with Tom Sykes, and then this year with Vision Track with Josh Watley. So yeah, enjoying it, and it's good that we've actually had some experience on this bike.
We'll reveal what this bike is later on. But I've had quite a lot of experience with this bike. Macaulay's had quite a lot of experience with this bike. That was actually the reason I got Macaulay involved. Not only is he got crippling OCDs, our garage is immaculate at MotoGP because of Macaulay, and his bikes are immaculate too. So I thought, as much as I like doing these projects and try to get involved, I thought it'd be really useful for people at home to see the level of a World Championship mechanic, how they work, and see how they would build a bike from the ground up. So this build is going to be a lot more professional. Even the garage that we've got here, the camera equipment, I've really tried to go to town with this build to make it the best we possibly can. And hopefully it's enjoyable for you guys to watch along too. So there's going to be 4 episodes in this build. I'll get into exactly what each episode is later on. Macaulay is going to give us some how-tos.
I'm going to give you some how-tos. I'm going to show you how to do it.
Yes.
And hopefully show you, if you're not too sure, I'll point you in the right direction. So.
I have to be careful managing Macaulay because he knows a lot more about motorbikes than I do, so I just sort of...
I could be saying anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. You make sure the kettle's on.
Right, that's cool, yeah. I am chief coffee maker in the MotoGP team as well. I know my strengths. I stick to them. It's not touching motorbikes. Your mechanicking career is actually, you've had quite an impressive run. You've only been a factory mechanic.
Yeah, I've only worked in sort of factory teams, which I'm quite lucky for. And sort of at the age of 22, I've worked in 4 championships. So British Superbikes, World Superbikes, European Talent Cup, and then now Moto3. So yeah, there's only really 2 more to go at, which I'm sure in a few more years I'll put my name to it. But yeah, at the minute, we're doing
enjoying
all right.
it.
We're enjoying it.
How did it come about? Because I remember you being a young kid working in Honda.
Yep.
How it was like, for me then, you were the daft little apprentice, and now you're like not the daft little apprentice anymore.
No, I still am.
You're still daft.
I'm just good at masking it. No, so I actually did work experience. So at school, we needed to do sort of a week's work experience. I was mad on bikes. Every year I used to go to Cadwell and Donington, and then got in touch with Honda. Managed to get a week at Honda racing, work experience, and then before you know it, the summer came and I was working there. So yeah, worked there, started sweeping the floors, then into the wash tank, cleaning the parts, and then all of a sudden I was there at race weekends building a superbike. So yeah, it didn't really have a plan. It just sort of all came together, and here we are now.
What is the worst crash you've ever had to fix?
Worst crash? I've had a lot. Yeah, it's always bad. We was on about it in the car this morning when your rider comes back and he's holding several parts off the bike, and I think one that sticks in the mind is when Dan Linfoot came in and he was holding the air filter out of the bike, and I think that was between race 1 and race 2. So yeah, we knew we had a bit of a job on, and I think another one was Thruxton with Tom Neve on the Superbike as a stand-in, and we had to collect the bike with a forklift. So we've had some big ones in the time, but hopefully the bike that's under here will stay in one piece to its new owner.
Now, the most exciting part of this whole build is not only that it's pretty much the ultimate track day bike build, it's also part of a competition. So you have the chance to win this bike through reactive parts, which I'm blown away that people are going to be able to do that. Not only are you going to be able to follow the whole thing whilst we do it, you're then going to be able to win it at the end. So very exciting. I think there'll be a link in the description below to find out exactly how you can win this bike.
I'll do my best to make sure everything's right on it.
Not only is it going to be an expensive bike, it's going to have Macaulay's OCD touch.
Yeah.
I'd far much rather win this one than my 10 grand build that I put together before.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll reveal the bike and explain exactly what we've got under here. If you're enjoying this build, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another episode, because there's plenty more coming up very soon.
Coming in, yeah, flex, I just wanna win, yeah, LABB who we running with, yeah, 2233, I'm on 10 again, yeah, state your name.
Here it is, the BMW M1000RR. This is the last bike that I raced in 2021, and a bike that I really enjoyed racing on. It was the first bike I actually rode that had wings on, which was really cool, and I think they have about 215 horsepower as standard. Is that right, Macca?
Yeah, about a little bit less, maybe 200.
It's YouTube, 225,
yeah.
230.
Depends how much you pull the cable on the right.
Yeah, about 180 if you're me. Already is a cracking road bike as it comes. They're really fast. The old sort of superstock bikes, you used to tune them a little bit. Whether it's these bikes, it's now just you're trying to detune them a lot of the time. So what we're going to do is turn this into pretty much a superstock spec bike. We've got lots of different parts that we'll talk about in the next episode, but the reason I enlisted Macca's help, not only is he a good mechanic, was because
I've actually worked on one of these bikes.
Yeah. What was it like to work on?
Really nice. Very different, the sort of the World Superbike compared to this sort of road bike as such, but at the end of the day it's all the same. It's got wheels, it's got a frame, it's got some forks.
What is different on a World Superbike to this?
Pretty much everything.
Really?
Yeah, you can use the same frame, throttle bodies and engine cases, but other than that everything's different. Different wheels, different forks, different brakes, different bodywork, different subframe, different electronics. So yes, it's quite different, but you know, at the end of the day this is a road bike. It's designed for people to work on them, so there's not a lot to them. It's not a scary build, this. It's going to be quite easy.
So this bike was new in 2021, I think. That was the first time I ever rode it. I actually felt like the biggest, I don't know what the word is, but basically we turned up to a Darley Moor club race at the very start of the year because we hadn't done any testing. Michael Rutter turned up with 2 of these brand new M1000s. I was so embarrassed that I turned up to a club race. It was like bringing a gun to a knife fight, and I still got beat. I finished second to Josh Daly. So it was an amazing bike right out the box. We actually, our first ever test we did on this was on a runway. We went to an RAF base. I don't know if we even meant to say that. Anyway, I've said it now. We rented this RAF base where we kindly got let on, and there was a video quite a while ago on my channel, and we pretty much just rode them up and down in a straight line, testing the electronics out, testing the wings, seeing what difference the wings made, and it was bizarre how much we actually learnt just riding the bike in a straight line. We also did some practice starts and tested a lot of electronics out, because these modern bikes, for people that don't know, people that don't ride them, they have so many gizmos and gadgets on it. This has, for instance, if you hold this button down, this switches all the electronics off pretty much. You get rid of the traction control and ABS. This one adjusts your traction control up and down, so you can move them up and down. This is cruise control. I've not yet used that in a race. Perhaps I probably should have just
left it on.
Yeah, if I put that at 72 and left it, I reckon you might win. And then you've got all your different rider modes that you can flick through on this side. It also has heated grips. Funnily enough, we actually left the heated grips on my bike because it's such an effort to remove these grips with the heated element in. We left them on, and I quite like these standard grips.
So you rode your super stock with heated grips?
Yeah, I switch them on sometimes. Cold hands.
Knock you.
Knock you. And then this gadget here is it's really quite intuitive. So you can flick it like that, and it flicks through the different menu modes. We haven't got the key right this second, else I will show you. Perhaps show you in the next episode. I'm gonna pretend to throw spanners at it. Yeah. The one thing we are going to do with this build is Macaulay is going to take you through each piece we do bit by bit, and it's going to be as simple as possible. We'll show you every single tool he uses, why he does things, and
tips of the trade, maybe.
Exactly, tips and tricks, and I'm going to learn the whole way through along with you guys at home. You might know already, but hopefully you'll find it interesting learning from someone that's learnt from the best.
Yeah. And I'll make sure you double check who
you check everything I do, because let's face it.
I've seen you on the spanners.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.
I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The bow and affection, I summon it.